During Disney's latest investment earnings call, CEO Bob Iger made the announcement that Marvel Studios is going to be reducing the amount of shows and movies that they're putting out each year because they want to focus on quality content as opposed to just quantity. Never mind the fact that this is the closest that we're going to get to Disney outright admitting that they cared more about quantity as opposed to quality content in the past. But still, things have been bad for Marvel in the last couple of years. So maybe they aren't sincere about this until you take into consideration that this is like the sixth earnings call in a row where Bob Iger has made pretty much the exact same type of statement. And some of the latest information coming out since then has led me to doubt that Bob Iger was sincere about it because presumably, if you're going to reduce the amount of content that you're putting out with Marvel, then you want to focus on stuff that you think are a sure thing and focus on characters that audiences actually want to see. And then we got this latest announcement that came out a couple days ago where it was saying that Ironheart is actually going to be a series for Disney Plus coming out next year. And this is one that they previously pulled the plug on, but I guess they're resurrecting it because they either have a lot of faith in it or they have nothing better to do, or they're actually not sincere about trying to reduce the amount of content and they're just going to put out a bunch of stuff anyway. And then we got this other information coming out talking about Hawkeye season 2 is getting renewed. Now, I'm not necessarily crapping on Hawkeye because by all accounts, at least if you look at the audience score on sites like Rotten Tomatoes, it didn't do too bad. However, viewership of that show wasn't that great either. And it kind of makes me question, why are they going to renew Hawkeye for a second season if the first season didn't do too well? But still, let's look at this article from Comic Book Movie where it kind of goes into some of the details about it. Now, mind you, these are rumors. They're not 100% confirmed, but they're coming from, I would say, decent sources. So you can make with it what you will, but let's read what it has to say. Hawkeye feels like Marvel Studios' most underrated TV show in many ways. While not every subplot hit the mark, Swordsman's peculiar role in the finale felt like a last-minute change. Haley Steinfeld and Florence Pugh stole the show as Kate Bishop and Yelena Belova, and Vincent D'Onofrio made his surprise MCU return as the Kingpin. Despite all that, there's still a lot of doubt whether Hawkeye will get a second season because the viewership numbers for the first season were not that good. I got this chart right here that shows the viewership figures for various MCU shows during their premiere on Disney Plus. And as you can see, Hawkeye was only able to bring in 1.5 million viewers during that premiere episode, or at least I think it was a 4-day time frame of the premiere episode, which ties it with She-Hulk, which was such a huge disaster for the MCU that it's already been announced that that's not getting a second season. But of course, a lot of that has to do with the fact that She-Hulk was significantly more expensive to produce. I believe that was one of the more expensive MCU shows to make. Meanwhile, Hawkeye, I think that was one of the cheapest, if not cheapest, MCU show to make. So maybe that's why they think they can get away with doing a second season of that. But still, it is kind of strange that it only got 1.5 million views during that premiere episode because Hawkeye was a popular enough character. He never had his own movie, but still he was popular amongst fans and he was been around since the early days of the MCU. But still, this was coming out during 2021 when there was still a lot of goodwill for the MCU from the fan base. But as time went on, that goodwill has evaporated. And as you can see with Secret Invasion, they weren't even able to crack 1 million during its premiere episode. And that was also a show starring a legacy character that was popular amongst the fan base that's been around the MCU for quite a while. So this is kind of an uphill battle for them to climb when it comes to a Hawkeye season 2, but still that's what the rumors are saying, or at least this is what the scoopers are saying, that they're going to have a second season of it. This is coming from My Time to Shine H, which you could take with this a pinch of salt because it isn't confirmed by Marvel, but still this person has a decent enough track record when getting information on this sort of thing. So that's why I think it's important to kind of say this is what they're talking about and this is what this person has to say. Hawkeye has been renewed for a second season, they claim. Clint's brother Barney will play a major role, and the season will be inspired by The Raid, with Kate and Clint stuck in one location. The article points out that it makes sense for Disney to try to make this season all in one location if in fact they are trying to save money, which by all accounts, it looks like that's what they're doing, because if you've actually been following their box office and their production costs this last couple of years, they've been spending so much money on their movies. They need to make $600, $700, $800 million in order to just break even. And a lot of their movies have been falling well short of that. The Marvels, for instance, that made less than $200 million at the global box office. And they spent so much money on that, it probably needed to make around $800 million in order to just break even. So Disney's trying to tighten their belt on this one and trying to produce stuff still so they can make some money off it, but they can only make money as long as they're keeping the production costs down. So maybe that's what they're doing with this one. We've also heard the announcement that the upcoming Blade movie is going to be made for less than $100 million, which is I think it might be the first MCU movie that's made for less than $100 million, or it's like the first one since the Hulk or something like that. But I just personally have my doubts that they can pull it off with Hawkeye season, because while the article does point out it'll be like The Raid or like Dread, those were movies set in one location. Keep in mind, those are movies. They're just hour and a half and that's about it. This is a season of a show. I don't know if you can carry a season in one location, but I'm not saying it can never happen. I just personally have my doubts that they can pull it off. But I think the only reason they're doing this season is because Hawkeye was already something cheap for them to produce in the past. So maybe they're thinking like, oh, well, we can make it cheaper yet. And also they just want to keep Kate Bishop alive, because they don't want to do a Young Avengers movie or show in the future and then everyone forgot who Kate Bishop was. They need to keep her kind of active within the MCU. So I think this will be more or less Kate Bishop more front and center than she was last season. And that's pretty much the goal with this whole show right here, is just to make sure she's still relevant. I don't know why they're not just going to put her in something else, but I guess they feel that she didn't appropriately enough take the title from Hawkeye, so they have to continue on with this. And I think that's kind of how this whole season will end, if in fact they do produce this season. But let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Do you think these rumors are accurate, or do you think it's just, that's it, it's just rumors, it's just talk, it's not going to happen, they're not going to have a season 2 of Hawkeye, or if they do, it's not going to be set in one location like this in order to try to save money? And if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest in entertainment news. And don't forget to like and share the video, because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.